Never before, Zac Jackson, well, he's been here before, but never before has he been here with this particular panel with a smile on his face. He's happy because he's not in Berea right now.
I skipped on the caffeine this morning,
Yeah.
and I got here for the first segment, and I'm just like juiced.
So would Todd Monken have had to
Yes.
answer 17 minutes straight of questions about the quarterback situation had he come out on Saturday and just said, Deshaun's getting the reps with the one today?
Yes, because he continues to have this quarterback competition that he doesn't talk much about, so that's going to drive the discussion. I don't know why they chose to message it that way, and I thought Monday made it worse, but to me, it's just one of those things. Like, maybe we'll mark it. Let's see where this goes. But everything about this is madness. So
It is.
Like, I fully, like, I admit it. I either overreacted or read it wrong, both, because I expected him to come in and say, hey, guys, Deshaun did that because he's taking the lead. Because that's what the end of last week looked like.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you're out of the installation stage, go. But again, they just won't come out and say it, so we don't know. So we can scream at each other about it, and it's valid.
Right.
I didn't feel personally offended. But yeah, the core of it is, as long as this is going on, then it's going to drive every press conference and every external discussion. And like the day before, he had done a Sirius XM interview where, guess what, they talked about quarterbacks. And he laid it out in a completely different way than he supposedly did 24 hours later.
Yeah. So you can't trust anything he says.
Right.
You can't. So, and we kind of knew that already, but now.
Which doesn't mean he will or won't win, right? But,
right. It has nothing to do with winning or him being a good coach or a bad coach. But I just think it's just a stupid reason to lie, in my opinion. But anyway, another part of this, which we haven't discussed yet today, I know you guys did yesterday, but was the fact that not only did Deshaun take the rest of the ones, but Dylan Gabriel took some of the second team reps here.
Yeah.
What do we make of that?
That's been happening for a week.
Yeah.
They've been mixing him in. And I think it's because both of them were so bad early on, they said, this is kind of a contingency plan, kind of / Dylan has earned it.
Yeah.
And they've gone away from what they call the two spotting, where every practice throughout the spring and early in camp was starting with Watson or Sanders on one field, whole groups running the same, jogging through the same plays, then running the same plays. Now it's just go, 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 go. And it's not necessarily the same plays. So Dylan is getting his turns in there, and they feel he's earned his turns, but we're not reading anything else.
Okay.
And Dylan's a backup quarterback. And that's what has been confirmed here.
Speaking of reading into things, yesterday, Todd Monken said Denzel Boston and Spencer Fano had earned the reps with the ones. It was the first time they had both been with the ones for an entirety of a practice. Do you anticipate that being a permanent fixture, or is this something that we may revert back to and have them work into?
Yeah, no, that's permanent. I mean, with Denzel, I think it was just Todd's way of saying, I don't want to talk about the quarterbacks for a minute, and I want to acknowledge how outstanding he's been, which he's been. And with Spencer, I think it was saying, hey, we feel like he's earned this job. So receivers, there's always a rotation, and it depends on the personnel groups, and I still think we're getting to that point. The guy they signed, the fullback, has not been there. One of the rookie tight ends who was going to make the team has not been there. So how they're going to play offense, we don't know. But I think he was acknowledging Denzel Boston has kind of arrived, and everybody else is on notice.
Right. So Casey Concepcion's still on the second team.
Well, the other thing with that is that they were always with the twos and the two spotting, and now Casey's been with the ones too.
Okay.
In the first set yesterday, Judy was not in, Concepcion was in. But I think he was just trying to acknowledge Denzel.
Okay.
He was mostly trying to shift the discussion away
from the
quarterbacks for 1 minute.
Yeah. Earl, go ahead.
Zach, so Fano then kind of solidified himself at the left tackle. We know Zion Johnson is the starting left guard. I am of the belief that he needs to solidify this starting five before he solidifies the starting quarterback. There's been, suggestions that, maybe you move Titus Howard in the right guard and DeJuan Jones as your starting right tackle. What's your thought about that?
No, Titus Howard is the starting right tackle until it goes haywire. That's what they're going to do. So the battle is at right guard, where Tevin Jenkins has been first up, missed like 8 practices in a row, so he's just getting back. And I do think their one caveat to that was that maybe the rookie would win the center job, but he has a wrist injury, so he has not practiced in over a week also.
Yeah.
So I'm with you, Earl. I think it's time more than anything to get that offensive line solidified, but I still think he's letting it play out until they get to the games. Titus Howard's getting some snaps off, series here and there, and Austin Barber, the right tackle. That to me is more about evaluating the rookie. And I think it would be Austin Barber over DeJuan Jones.
Oh,
in the long term. Now, if Titus Howard gets hurt and somebody has to play, I think DeJuan might be first. But I haven't seen DeJuan take a right tackle rep the whole the whole camp.
Interesting, because he played better for the Browns in the past, that right tackle, than he did left
and
tackle.
his college resume is the same way. He played some left tackle, but he was much better at right.
How is he, real quick? How has DeJuan looked in camp? Just
he's having a good camp. He's in shape, and he's a talented guy, and they want to see his development through.
Yeah.
But this is the end of his contract, and he hasn't been healthy, so they kind of got to know. So I don't disagree at all. I think the alarm was, hey, why isn't the top 10 pick won the job yet?
Yeah, right.
And I think that's a valid alarm, and B, well, because he's a 21-year-old coming in here, they're going to let him go. But I think there is a real commitment to let's see the best of DeJuan Jones here, because we're going to have to make decisions on him, potentially trade him or try to get him to sign a cheap deal if it does work out. Have him ready to play both spots because they're going to need it. They erred greatly last year in having DeJuan Jones and Cornelius Lucas as their plans at left tackle, and we found that out. KT Levinson's in a battle for the right guard job. That was a great pickup for nothing by them, but he started 7 games at tackle last year.
Yeah, not good.
Todd basically said Fano got promoted because he fought first. I mean, did he not?
Well, he said that was part of the time.
He loved it. He thought it was great.
One interesting thing on Todd is those guys fought, and they were both in the next play. There was no discipline. It was like, let them go. So, and you're going to have camp fights, and I like them to an
It
extent.
happens all the time.
But, in some camps, you get benched a whole day.
Oh, really?
They kicked out Mendoza and Kirk Cousins and Max Crosby from Vegas camp for getting in a fight, and they both, fight happened, go. Locker room, done.
Yeah.
As opposed to the Browns, where they were back in the next
I
place.
love the fact that versus coaching up Fano.
And now they're
2 days earlier.
And the next day.
and now they're on the ground.
That's
brawling.
2 plays later, he was too. But he had Fano's helmet in his left hand and was wailing away with his right.
That's awesome.
Sean Dunnigan upstairs for KYC got
a good
the,
video
the
of it.
best video of anyone.
I saw it. Yeah, it was
if you
good.
haven't seen it, go check his Twitter. He tweeted it out, but it was a real fight.
I think it's great. Honestly, you don't want to see it
passion.
all the time. You
I
don't
love
want to see it all the time.
Yeah.
But if Fano's not going to back, you don't want I think Todd said this yesterday. You don't want the rookie backing down.
No.
Like in that moment, you got to come with it.
That's right.
And he did.
And the offense has got pushed around for 2 weeks, and some of that's understandable, and some of it is a good defense. But you want to see fight back. Like I mostly like what I see at camp. The tempo's good. I don't see guys pouting. I think there's been a good mix of he has had some really long practices. He's taking care of them the next day. He's mixed up lineups. Like everything moves. What you notice more than anything is the receivers are so much better that it just makes
That's
practice
huge.
move.
Yeah.
And quarterbacks, it's been a mixed bag. And if you say that, people go nuts. But that's what it's been. It's been a completely mixed bag.
Well, getting back to the offensive line for 1 second, everybody, I know a lot of fans felt like, oh, we fixed the offensive line. Now they addressed it. There's no doubt. Are they better? We don't know. I think we were all questioning, are they actually better? What did you think going? I can't remember what you thought going into the season. I think you were questioning it too. And do you feel at the moment, it's hard to tell, they haven't played a real game, better or worse at this point?
Yeah, I need to see him against somebody else's
That's
defense,
what I figured.
right?
Okay.
You need to see him in game situations. So I'm interested. Like, I would not have Judkins on the field in the preseason.
Yeah, what's the point?
Right, I wouldn't have Titus Howard on the field, but they need to play. So that I don't know what the right answer is.
Yeah.
I certainly don't expect Denzel Ward, Schlesinger, you guys have been practicing in a week, guys like that. But the offensive line probably has to play a couple series.
Yes, definitely.
We talked about this yesterday, and I'm curious what you think, because you're not in until Friday again, and we'll have maybe a little better sense. But I think Todd was asked, how long are these quarterbacks going to play in the preseason? He said, I'd like the starters to get at least a series. If this is a real quarterback competition and Todd's trying to decide between Deshaun and Shedeur, how long would you, if you were the head coach of the Browns, play each of these quarterbacks in the preseason, knowing that they may not be behind a starting offensive line? They may not have all the weapons. We need them both to be healthy to make an evaluation, but we need them to play so we can evaluate them.
And that's tough. If Shedeur was clearly ahead, which he's not, Deshaun would still have to play because he hasn't played football in 2 years. Like, you have to see him take a hit and get up to know. We don't know.
Yeah, right.
What I think will happen, in the way you asked it is fair. I don't, but what I think will happen is Deshaun will play 2 series. One with the top 5 offensive line. The second one, they'll mix in Austin Barber and or someone else. And then he'll be out. And then Shedeur will go in for anywhere from 4 to 6 series. And that way it's completely unscripted. Or they're going to start on their own 2-yard line. They're going to start on the plus 20.
Right.
It's going to get in. They're going to have a feel for the game. And they're going to judge him, but let him go on the operation stuff, on all of this. He'll play much longer in game 1. Then they'll get back to practice next week and decide. And if he's going to stick to it, then Shedeur would then start the second game. But who starts the joint practice is more important. And I think a smart thing here is he cannot name Deshaun Watson the starter before the joint practice, because if he goes out and plays like he has in past joint practices, then it's like
right. Yeah. Last thing before we'll take a break here. when I was screaming and yelling before and during my rant, I said neither quarterback's playing well because if one of them was playing well, they would have been named the starter.
Yeah.
Is that fair, or was I wrong there?
I think in the totality, that's fair.
Yeah.
I think a week ago I was saying Watson was unplayable and it was bad. And
Okay.
he has played mostly well since then.
Okay.
Like noticeably well. And specifically throwing the ball down the field. Now, every time he throws it over the middle, you think it's going to be a pick six. And a lot of days it hasn't, but not for the last 4 or 5
Right.
days. I think he's playing better right now.
Playing better
Yeah.
than Shedeur?
Than
or just
Shedeur.
Yeah.
He's
okay.
playing better and playing better than Shedeur. But
Yeah.
is it a wide gap? Is it something that I know? And does it answer anything that we need to know about what's going on behind closed doors, what
Right.
the coach is really asking them to do, and how they're handling these things? I don't know. But it's totally changed for me in a week where I was like, okay, this guy's completely unplayable.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so now he hasn't been. And I'm interested to see how he will handle. And if they want him to look good, then put him out there against Chicago's 2s and 3s and let him work for a couple
Yeah.
drives. We'll see. And you want all your players to look good.
Of course.
There's so much side taking and all of this. And I've really tried not to do that. I've tried to call it like I see it.
Yeah.
I just cannot get away from the fact that this is such a bad idea and is stunning the development of others by
Right.
continuing to do this dance and
Right.
act like Deshaun Watson's ever going to give you quality NFL play because he's not.
But if Shedeur Sanders can't beat out Deshaun, what does that say about him?
That's
Yeah.
a different discussion.
Yeah.
And along the way, this
Yeah.
is like, okay, how are you going to handle? How did Shedeur handle Saturday body language wise? And
Yeah.
we don't know. If Deshaun goes out and plays well or doesn't play well on Saturday, how does Shedeur handle it when he goes in? It's
Right.
really about how he handles the huddle and the situations. And I think there's no doubt that he will play more because he needs to play more. But if they're still considering Watson, and apparently they are,
Yeah.
he has to play too.
All right, the Cavs are going to play more very soon. Not that soon. I guess it's still in August. But will they be playing on Christmas Day? Somebody is annoyed about that answer. That's next on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.